Well, the Gulf Coast still, of course, trying to resuscitate its local economies nearly 9 months after the devastating explosion of BP's Deepwater Horizon rig. Ricky Matthews chairs the Alabama Coastal Recovery Commission. He joins us now. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Healthy. I appreciate it.
I just came from New Orleans, so I know how important the fishing industry is, of course, to the southern region, to the Gulf Coast. Just give us a sense of where those local businesses stand now.
You know, I think, first of all, the beaches are clean and getting cleaner. Water's beautiful. Fishing's never been better. And as you learned in New Orleans over the weekend, the seafood is great.
It is.
And it's all tested safe. Not once has it not tested safe. You know, I think that the immediate impact of the spill, though, has hurt a lot of small businesses, particularly in South Alabama, where there are a lot of family-owned businesses, and they really require the tourist season to be healthy. They make their nut 3 months out of the year. So when it came to the end of September or the end of August, and they had not made their 3-month nut, you can only imagine how much pain that created.
When you talk about commissions, here's the 198-page report, an 80-member commission that you headed.
Yeah.
Some folks are critical and they say, well, what does this report really result in?
Yeah.
Do people forget about this a year or 2 years down the road? What are the actual results that are coming out of your findings?
Yeah.
What are you implementing now?
Well, first of all, just as it relates to process, I had the opportunity to work with Haley Barbour after Hurricane Katrina. We started the commission 2 weeks after Hurricane Katrina. We met the day after Katrina to start the process.
What did you learn from Hurricane Katrina, from the commission, and what of those lessons have you implemented now in trying to repair local businesses after the BP disaster?
I think short term, constantly reminding folks that the Feinberg claims process has to keep businesses whole. I mean, that's been extremely important. We've made a recommendation to the governor that we create a seafood marketing board, or actually we call it a Gulf Fisheries Marketing Board. So essentially, anyone who makes their living from the Gulf of Mexico would have the opportunity to have some influence over where we go as far as marketing, seafood testing, those kinds of things. And here, though, let me just tell you that the bottom line for this report, though, is to say that the oil spill revealed a lot of vulnerabilities in South Alabama. It did all along the Gulf Coast. What we did was we said, okay, we're not going to be victims any longer. We're going to shift the focus and start thinking about the future and say, okay, are the vulnerabilities that were exposed now, what are we going to do to address those? What this report does is begin to really lay out the plans for how we overcome those vulnerabilities.
What would you say, Ricky, has been missed in all of this in terms of all of the attention paid by the media, which has waned a little bit, but what issue has been missed that really affects the people of Alabama and of the Gulf Coast?
I think what happened, what most people don't realize is it wasn't over for the people of the Gulf Coast. I would say not just South Alabama, but Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, or Louisiana. But the reality is it wasn't over. And so, unfortunately, you know, getting the attention that we've needed, it's hard to say attention because you almost worry a little bit about sending the message that it's a victim still. But the truth is a lot of people are suffering. And they didn't appreciate why the claims process had to work the way it needed to work.
So they wanted the money faster.
They had to, and they couldn't sue. Because if they sue, they will never see the money. For 20 years, they may not see the money.
A lot of people don't understand that's how the process works. You either take the deal or you don't.
Yeah, and you know that's been a clumsy process. But frankly, I've often said I don't know if Feinberg could have been ultimately successful because it's never been done before.
Are you saying Ken Feinberg hasn't been successful?
I think he's had. You know, he'll admit to you that he's had a lot of bumps in the road. That he's had to constantly make adjustments in the process, and it's been a humbling experience for him. I was at a meeting with him in Orange Beach, Alabama. Over 700 people attended this meeting. There was more pain in that room than I'd seen since Hurricane Katrina. He promises too much and he underdelivers. And I think what's happened, this has been a humbling experience for him. He's made adjustments along the way. I think he's been humbled along the way. And the process is working better. But will it ever be perfect? I don't think so. Can it work well enough to make people whole? I think it can, but he's got to stay focused on the process. There is a powerful lubrication, the change that comes from pain. And I think people have rallied together and said, okay, what are we going to do to address the vulnerabilities that we discovered? We knew about them before from the hurricanes. Now we've got an opportunity to do something. I'm extremely hopeful that the region will come together. We'll get the money we need to really build resiliency in coastal Alabama. I think this will be true for most of the states. And I think you know what? People are going to eat more Gulf seafood. They're going to come visit the most beautiful white beaches in the world. And the fishing, as I should have mentioned, is the best it's ever been. I think people will discover that, and really a good thing will have come from the oil spill. As bad as